Alarm bells rang across the Middle East when Iran announced that it had launched missiles toward a United States military installation in the region, triggering immediate fears of a dangerous escalation involving American forces and Israel. According to Iranian officials, the missiles were fired in a deliberate strike meant to send what they described as a direct military warning to Washington and its allies. Within minutes of the announcement, headlines began spreading across international news networks as Iranian military commanders claimed the operation had successfully targeted a U.S. base connected to American operations in the region. Iranian officials insisted the missiles were part of a calculated retaliation effort, describing the launch as a measured response to what they said were escalating threats against Iran's strategic interests. According to Iranian state television, the missiles were launched from positions inside Iranian territory and directed toward an American military facility believed to support regional surveillance and logistics operations. Iranian military spokesman described the strike as both a demonstration of capability and a signal that Iran was prepared to respond forcefully if tensions continued to rise. Iranian state media quickly framed the strike as a moment of strategic significance, reporting that the attack showed Iran could reach key American military assets despite the presence of advanced defense systems across the region. Commentators on Iranian broadcasts described the launch as a turning point in the escalating confrontation involving Iran, the United States, and Israel. Before we go deeper into what Iran claims happened during this missile launch, how the strike reportedly unfolded in the hours leading up to it, and what American defense officials are now saying about the damage and the broader security implications, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates on the most dramatic geopolitical developments happening around the world. According to Iranian military officials, the missile launch was carried out as part of what they described as a carefully coordinated operation, targeting American military infrastructure tied to regional command and intelligence networks. Iranian commanders stated that several precision-guided missiles were launched toward the installation in a rapid sequence designed to overwhelm defensive systems and ensure that at least some of the projectiles would reach their intended targets. Statements released by Iranian military spokesmen suggested that the missiles were aimed at key operational facilities inside the base, including what they described as command centers, logistical depots, and radar installations used to coordinate aerial and surveillance missions across the Middle East. Iranian officials claimed the operation had been planned for weeks, with military planners selecting specific launch windows designed to maximize the element of surprise. According to Iranian state television, the strike was intended not only to damage infrastructure, but also to demonstrate that Iran could reach American forces stationed throughout the region. Iranian commanders also framed the strike as a response to what they described as increasing military pressure from the United States and Israel. According to statements broadcast on Iranian state media, officials argued that American military deployments and Israeli security operations had created what they called a direct threat environment, which required Iran to show that it was prepared to respond militarily if necessary. According to Iranian state television, the missile launches represented what officials describe as a calibrated message rather than the beginning of a full-scale war. Iranian analysts appearing on state broadcasts emphasized that the strike was meant to show capability and resolve without necessarily triggering a wider conflict. Yet at the same time, Iranian commentators made clear that the symbolic meaning of the strike extended far beyond the physical damage it may have caused. By launching missiles toward an American military installation, Iran was signaling that it viewed the current confrontation as one involving major powers and strategic red lines. According to Iranian media, the strike was intended to prove that Iran could reach the most heavily protected military assets in the region, a message directed not only at Washington, but also at Israel and other regional actors closely aligned with the United States. The importance of the targeted U.S. military installation cannot be overstated. Located within a strategically critical part of the Middle East, the base serves as one of the key logistical and operational hubs supporting American military activities across the region. According to U.S. defense analysts, the facility plays a vital role in coordinating surveillance missions, intelligence gathering, and air operations tied to regional security. Military experts say the base supports a range of capabilities, including radar systems, aircraft support infrastructure, and command facilities used to monitor developments across several neighboring countries. According to defense officials speaking to international media in previous years, installations like this one often host hundreds, sometimes thousands of American personnel, along with advanced equipment used to track missile launches, aircraft movements, and maritime activity across the Gulf. The facility also serves as part of a broader network of American military positions designed to ensure rapid response capability in the event of regional crises. Aircraft operating from bases like this one are often involved in reconnaissance missions, defensive patrols, and rapid deployment operations. Because of its strategic role, military analysts have long warned that installations of this type would likely become priority targets during any major confrontation involving Iran and the United States. Military analysts have repeatedly noted that bases supporting surveillance and coordination functions would represent some of the first targets in any escalation scenario. Disrupting those capabilities could potentially complicate American military planning and slow response times across the region. In that context, the Iranian decision to target such a facility carries significant symbolic weight. Even the attempt to strike a base like this sends a message about reach, capability, and strategic intent. And that is precisely why the claims surrounding this strike immediately drew such intense attention from military observers around the world. Before we continue with how the United States has responded to these claims and what analysts are saying about what really happened, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates on the most dramatic geopolitical developments happening around the world. Then the United States began to respond. American defense officials confirmed that missiles had indeed been launched toward a U.S. military installation in the region. However, their description of what happened differed sharply from the narrative presented by Iranian state media. According to Pentagon sources speaking to International reporters, defensive systems surrounding the base were activated shortly after the incoming missiles were detected. U.S. military officials stated that interception systems were deployed to neutralize the threat before the projectiles could reach critical infrastructure. Statements released by American defense officials indicated that several incoming missiles were intercepted by air defense systems protecting the installation. According to U.S. military sources, while fragments from intercepted missiles reportedly fell in areas surrounding the base perimeter, the installation itself remained operational and continued normal activity shortly after the incident. Pentagon officials emphasized that no major infrastructure damage had been confirmed and that there were no reports of significant casualties among American personnel stationed at the facility. American military spokesman also stressed that the defensive systems deployed around the base had performed as intended, intercepting incoming threats and protecting the installation from serious damage. This stark difference between the two narratives immediately sparked debate among military analysts and geopolitical observers. On one side, Iranian officials were portraying the strike as a successful demonstration of missile capability and a powerful message directed at the United States and Israel. On the other side, American defense officials were insisting that the attack had limited impact and that defensive systems had effectively neutralized the threat. The gap between those two versions of events quickly became the central question surrounding the incident. Military analysts immediately began assessing what the strike might mean within the broader context of rising tensions across the Middle East. According to regional security experts speaking to international media, the missile launch appears to repress and a significant moment along the escalation ladder between Iran and the United States. Direct missile launches toward American military installations are relatively rare events, and when they occur, they often signal a deliberate attempt to demonstrate capability without crossing into full-scale conflict. Some analysts noted that the strike resembles previous episodes in which regional powers have attempted to balance retaliation with restraint, sending a strong military signal while avoiding actions that would trigger an immediate large-scale war. Others suggested the timing of the strike may have been influenced by broader tensions involving Israel. Israeli Defense Forces reportedly placed several military units on heightened alert following the announcement of the missile launch, according to regional security sources. Energy markets also began reacting almost immediately. Oil prices historically respond sharply to any indication of instability in the Gulf region, where a significant portion of the world's energy supply moves through critical shipping routes. According to energy analysts, even limited military incidents in the region can create uncertainty that ripples through global markets. At the same time, diplomatic channels reportedly began activating as international leaders called for restraint. According to statements released by several governments, there is growing concern that further retaliation could trigger a dangerous chain reaction across the region. The competing narratives themselves are also part of the strategic landscape. Iran benefits from portraying the strike as successful because it reinforces the image of military capability and deterrence. The United States benefits from emphasizing the effectiveness of its defenses because it reassures allies and signals that American forces remain protected and operational. In this sense, key information battle surrounding the strike may be almost as significant as the military action itself. What remains clear is that two very different versions of this event are now circulating across the world. Iran claims its missiles successfully struck an American military target and demonstrated its ability to challenge U.S. forces across the region. The United States insists the missiles were intercepted and that the base remains fully operational. Between those two narratives lies a complex reality that military analysts are still working to understand. Some experts warn that incidents like this can easily spiral if additional strikes, retaliatory actions, or miscalculations occur in the days ahead. Others believe both sides may attempt to contain the escalation, using carefully measured responses designed to avoid a wider regional war. What is clear is that this missile launch has already become one of the most dramatic moments in the unfolding tensions between Iran, the United States, and Israel. Whether the situation stabilizes or moves toward further confrontation remains uncertain. The world watches closely as governments, military commanders, and diplomatic channels all move rapidly behind the scenes. Stay tuned for further updates as this developing story continues to reshape the geopolitical landscape of the region.